Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from the Florida Keys. It's been 16 days since I put plants in this grow tent provided to me to test out by Mars Hydro, and I have to say I'm very excited. So let me show you what's gone on since the last update. I don't need to tell you how impressed I am with this grow tent and grow light. I've never had one before and I really didn't know what to expect, but I never would have imagined that things would go as well as they have with this grow tent. So here's what it's looking like with the 2 shelves I put in there. What comes with this grow tent is just the tent. You have to, buy the light separately. The tent is separate, and I decided to put some shelves in here. And guys, you're not going to believe the changes. Some of them aren't as drastic as last time, but let's go ahead and see what we have. We're going to start off with these cactus plants that I'm growing from seed. And this is what they looked like on day 8. These had done nothing for a very long time. Cactus plants don't grow that fast, so I didn't really expect anything to happen, but from day 8, they were showing some growth. And from day 16, on day 16th, they look pretty much about the same, a little plumper. They were dehydrated and things like that. But they're still alive and well, showing some light stress, so they're getting some color. And I think I'm going to go ahead and take these out. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but it was an experiment. I bought the seeds on eBay, I think, and I really didn't know what to expect, but I actually got some little cactus plants. It's a variety pack, so I can't even tell you what these are, but I'm just amazed and impressed that I have anything. So pretty pleased with those. So that's the update on those. Nothing drastic, but they're still alive and kicking. That's always a good thing. Next, we'll move on to this Peperomia. Remember the one that I had gathered some leaves that had fallen off of the mother plant, and I didn't know if they would do anything. Not only did they root, but one of them actually started growing a plant. And this is what it looked like on day 8. And let's see what it looks like today on day 16. I'm really surprised. People were asking me, are these going to actually grow a plant or just be a rooted leaf like the carry does? And I'm like, I have no idea. I didn't really expect much, but look at this. The leaves are much larger on here. I'm going to put a link so you can see what they look like when I first put them in. And so you can look at that video, the first video. But none of these were on here. I mean, this is just amazing. All that from one leaf. That's one long vine coming from one leaf. And as you can see, most of them are rooted. So who knows? Maybe I'll get another plant from another one of these leaves. I'm in no hurry. I'll wait it out. But this one has really, really taken off. And I'm impressed. I'm very impressed and surprised, I have to say. Next up, these are some cuttings that I am rooting from a trade and then from a plant that I had. But if you recall, this pubicalyx this is what it looked like on day 8. The second set of leaves was new. Not much going on with these stems, but you can see there's a root there. I think these are melanochrysum stems, but this is the last time we checked, this is what it looked like. And then another stem that nothing was going on with that one either. So let's take a look and see what they're looking like today on day 16. Now, some of these, when they have a lot of condensation, I'll go ahead and leave them open for a while, let them dry out some. Look at that second set of leaves. It's bigger than the original leaves. Wow, that's grown quite a bit. And let's see on this stem. Oh, look there. We have This melanochrysum stem has a root on it. All right. And let's see what this stem is doing. Is this one doing anything? This is the worst moss I've ever bought. No, not really. Got a little bit going on there, a little nub, but no roots yet. But lots of grass in here from some sphagnum moss I ended up buying at a big box store. Won't buy that again. Look at this pubicalyx, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this out. Yeah, it definitely seems to have quite a root system now, so I'm going to plant it. All right. Yeah, look at this. Oh my gosh. Remember, this was an unrooted cutting 2 weeks ago. And now it has enough roots to pick up all that sphagnum moss. I'm going to see if I can't clean that up and show you what the roots look like. But this I'll definitely be taking out, and I'll probably put it in with another pot of Hoya pubicalyx that I have. Okay, I took the time to get this out of the sphagnum moss, and this is what the root system now looks like after 2 weeks on this Hoya pubicalyx. Pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and pot this up. But one of the drawbacks of using sphagnum moss, it roots plants very quickly, but when it comes time to take it out and plant and pot it up or whatever, you're going to really have to take your time getting the roots out of that sphagnum moss so that you don't damage the roots. I'll leave those melanochrysum stems in there, and we'll move on to these Hoya cuttings. Now, this is what they look like on day 8. When I originally put them in here, they had a couple of like hair-like tiny roots, but nothing serious. After day 8, as you can see here, they had a grip on this sphagnum moss because they had begun to develop a serious root system. And this one actually had a little stem growing from it, as you can see here. But and this Hoya, yeah, also was growing roots. So let's take a look and see what they are looking like today. Now I'm hoping that these are going to be ready to go ahead and pot up. So let's see. This is what they're looking like. Look at that stem. It's growing a whole second set of leaves. So that's progress. And yeah, they've got a good grip on this sphagnum moss. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take these out. Look at that. See those new leaves on there? All of that is new. And this one looks like it's going to be sprouting a stem and a new set of leaves as well. And it has a nice hold on the sphagnum moss. And this one too. And it's got some new growth. So yeah, I'll definitely be taking these out of the grow tent and potting them up because I feel like the roots are probably ready. So I'm going to remove the sphagnum moss from the roots. And here's what those roots look like. 2 weeks, some nice roots going here. Lots of new growth. Look at that. Yeah, definitely enough root system to pot these up. I'm going to put these Polyneura in with another Polyneura cutting that I have. And I will pot this one up on its own, but it has nice roots as well. Now you notice I did leave some of the sphagnum moss. I'm not going to risk ripping off roots to get all of the sphagnum moss off, and it should be fine. And as you can see, it's potted up and ready to go. This one is near a grow light on the shelf, so it'll still get some nice lighting. It's also near a humidifier, so it'll still get some nice humidity. And initially, I'll make sure I keep the soil a little damper than I normally would, just because it's used to being in damp sphagnum moss. So hopefully that will do just fine right here. And the Polyneura cuttings are over here with another cutting Polyneura plant that I started from a small cutting from another trade. I traded the cutting for with planting the World Red, Ashley. That's where I got the bigger one. And the two smaller ones are the ones from Yuko's garden that I traded for and rooted up in the grow tent. So hopefully one day I'll have a nice full polyneura. But it'll get plenty of light. They'll get plenty of light right here. They're also by the humidifier and should do well. And next up is one of my favorite plants to experiment with, the string of hearts. On day 8, this is what they looked like. These are individual node cuttings from a couple of strings on my variegated string of hearts. And I just wanted to see if they would root and if I can get a nice pot started from these. That's what they look like on day 8. This is what they look like on day 16. As you can see, again, lots of grass in there. But the string of hearts have also, some of them have started trailing. I see some roots going on here. Let's take a closer look. These are the only string of anything that I can keep alive is string of hearts, and I just have so much fun just trying to propagate them in different ways. Look at that root there. So these are rooting, not quite enough root that I would talk about taking them out of the grow tent. I'll leave them in there. They seem to be doing quite well. Now moving on to my Epipremnum, pinnatum, varagata, Albo. This plant is one of the ones I'm most excited about. This is what it looked like on day 8. If you recall, I had a leggy plant. I cut it up and cut the stem up. This part had roots, but no leaf. And this is what it looks like on day 16. As you can see, it's getting ready to get a second leaf. Mind you, when I put this in this cup, it had no leaf at all. So there's been quite a bit of growth on this plant. Now I also have some other nodes that I cut up, and I'm going to show you those as well. This plant is just doing amazing things in this grow tent, and I'm very excited about it. Now here are the nodes. This is what they look like on day 8. One of them had gotten a leaf. The other ones had leaves that had not unfurled. There's 1 or 2 stems in here that are just starting to get roots. So this is what it's looking like on day 8. And on day 16, look at the difference. Look at all of these leaves. Just about every node has at least a leaf. That is amazing to me. I'm so excited about this plant. That one has a totally white leaf. We'll see how long that lasts. Not exactly what you want. It looks pretty and different in things, but it doesn't photosynthesize well, so they don't usually last. But I'm very excited about this plant. It looks like I'm going to end up with a full pot. And I'll also have, you know, some extra so I can trade for other things. So I'm very excited about that. Much different than what I put in here initially. And this one is the only one that doesn't have a leaf, but as you can see, it has a little root now at least. So I really expected nothing from this one. It's just a dried out stem. Had no expectations, but this grow tent has done some amazing things. This is what it looks like after day 16. And now on to my little well-finned Sansevieria. I thought this was a variegated one, but apparently not. I must have been confused, but anyway, maybe I was just hoping. But this is what it looked like after day 8. Initially, it was just 2 stubs that I'd had for months, and they'd done nothing. And after 8 days, this leaf started to unfurl. So that's in itself is a big difference, than much different than what it had been looking like. So after 16 days, let's see what the progress is. I keep it back here close to the light where it can get plenty of bright light, and it seems to like it there. And let's take a look. The leaf has unfurled more. It's taller than it was when we looked at it at day 8, on day 8. And definitely a big difference from what it was when I put it in this grow tent. Make sure you check out that first video if you haven't seen it, when I put all of these plants in the grow tent, and you will see the difference. It's just, I'm amazed by it. But definitely some very fast growth, you know, compared to what I'm used to under my grow lights, not in a grow tent and things like that. Now this is my variegated Kintiana. I call it my backup. This is what it looked like on day 8. I took a cutting from the mother plant in case for some reason the mother plant doesn't make it, and I'm actually having problems with my mother plant now, so I'm very happy to have this. It has started some new growth since it's been in the grow tent. Nice new leaves and things like that, which I really didn't expect. And this is what it looks like now, day 16. As you can see, the leaves that it had sprouted that were just little tiny leaves are much bigger now. I am amazed. Like I said, I really wasn't expecting any great growth from this plant. It's just my backup. I wanted it to be as healthy as possible. But hey, it looks pretty healthy to me, and it is growing. And it may end up being the only Kintiana I have variegated, since the mother plant isn't doing well. So I'm so glad to have that. Nothing beats a good backup plant. I like to do backup plants of all of my favorite plants if I can. Get a little cutting, root it, grow it. There you go. Now these Sansevierias are, this is what they look like on day 8. They actually came from leaf propagation in water. So I cut the blades off, stuck them in water, and they grew pups. I decided to pot them up since they had nice roots going, and put them in the grow tent. Nothing to lose, right? They were quite small when I put them in here, and on day 8 they looked like this, and on day 16 they are really doing some things. The pups are getting new leaves. The plants are a lot fuller. These are Sansevieria Whitney, and I'm not sure what else is in here. But all of them, like I said, were water propagations, and they did quite well, and they're doing very well in the grow tent. And I will probably be taking these out as well and sticking them in pots with the mother plant that I took the cuttings from to fill in that plant. So just happy with those. Now I have some other Hoyas in here and things, but I put these in here because I decided I need to get some Hoya blooms. I've never had a Hoya to bloom. I'm new to Hoyas. I think the oldest Hoya I have is probably like 8 months or so. But this pubicalyx has done crazy things. Look at those tendrils. And although I am very impressed with the way these Hoyas have grown since they've been placed in the grow tent, I just really want some flowers. So I put these in here, figured it'd be the perfect environment to get some blooms. So what happens? They grow, they're giving me nice colors. I don't see not one peduncle on any of them. But I do have a nice surprise. Under my other grow light, my SP150, my Retusa decided to give me some flowers. I was scared to say anything when it first got peduncles because I was like, I've seen peduncles before and I've had them fall off, but I've never had one actually open and give me flowers. Well, I can't say that anymore because my Retusa is in bloom. Moving on to the next plant in the grow tent is this Ficus elastica Tanique. It has, since being in the grow tent, unfurled 2 new leaves and has additional leaves about to unfurl. This is another plant. All it was doing for me was losing leaves, so I'm very happy with that. So My experience with the Mars Hydro Grow Tent and Grow Light has been wonderful. I've put out 3 videos showing the plants in there and 1 showing the setup. If you're interested, there are links below to the Grow Light as well as the Grow Tent that I'm using. Thank you so much, Mars Hydro, for offering me the opportunity to test out the Grow Tent and Grow Light. I am thrilled with it and have really been enjoying watching things grow at a whole new level. So thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you so much as always. Hope you and yours are well. Take care, stay well, and I'll see you next time. That's about it. Bye-bye.